Hey everyone, before I get started, I just want to remind you that if you like my content, hit that like button, subscribe to my channel, and then join the Militiaman and Crew Patreon community by clicking the link in the caption. Hey, good afternoon everybody. It is Thursday and I'm just getting started and it's going to be a wonderful day. I hope you guys are having some good weather. I know that where I am it's sunny and hot still, so summer is typical, but it looks like there's an article that's circulating. It's called "The Expert Warns of a Proposal to Solve the Dollar Crisis," and this particular expert is suggesting that dealing with Iraqi dinars is the main focus. They shouldn't be dealing in in dollars. So anyway, it says opening outlets to sell the dollar on a monthly basis for every citizen doesn't do any advantages, and we all know that. It says at a matter of fact, it says that it will lead to an increase in currency smuggling and an increase in the black transfers, in other words, the illegal behavior. Basically, that's why there's no such government approach. And you're going to see that they're going to try to eradicate the parallel market, the black market, whatever you want to call it. It's the illegal market, and they're going to be doing away with that. And the easiest way, in our view, is to raise the value of your currency to be significantly better than the U.S. dollar, and that probably goes away quite quickly. But we'll see how that goes. There's a really long article if you guys want to go back and look at it. It's a long read, but it's worth it. But then again, there's only some really key points that I like in it, and that's what I'm going to touch on. It's the Buna platform. Basically, is stating that they're going to add new Arab and Asian currencies to their platform, which is interesting. They talked about this on Monday, August 14th. I didn't get it till probably the 15th, but here it is, the 17th, and I still find it to be relevant. It says here, His Excellency Dr. Al-Hamidi explained that the banking system has become more prepared to absorb financial and economic shocks and the risks that may be exposed due to the application of capital and liquidity requirements in accordance with Basel III standards, which would enhance the quality of the capital in the banks, and basically the retention of high quality capital, which is characterized by the ability to face risks and absorb losses. It's really kind of a big thing for countries to have these requirements met, and it bodes well for them on an economic standpoint or a credit rating standpoint, etc. The banks having liquidity for the things that they do, it creates an environment of safety and security. The Basel III adoption is going to be on their agenda, and it looks like they've already made headways on that particular aspect of things. The main part about this particular article, which I'll get to you here in just a second, is that the Buna platform, if you don't know what it is, it's basically a platform that constitutes an integral or an integrated system specialized in providing clearing services and settlements and payments in Arab and international currencies. And we've probably been around and people have heard things to the extent that JP Morgan quite some time back has a contract with the Buna platform to clear the U.S. dollar and other foreign currencies, and I'm assuming they're going to help facilitate that here in the near future, because the Iraqi dinar has been said to be cleared before on the Buna platform, but it hasn't been exposed to the public, I guess, in the world. But here it says the Buna platform is compatible with Islamic Sharia, so that's telling the masses that are out there that they have the ability to do banking with that in mind. And some of the things that are going around the world, and it's global, is a thing called Sukuk, and it's one of the fastest growing tools to make money in the regions. So it says that the platform has an integrated strategy to develop the service provided, starting with instant payment services, trade finance services, and cross-border money market transactions. It says that the platform provides a payment and settlement service in Arab and international currencies, which now include the UAE dirham, the Saudi rial, the Egyptian pound, the Jordanian dinar, the US dollar, and the euro, and in addition to Arab and Asian currencies that will be announced soon. Don't know exactly which ones they are, but we believe that, or I believe that is possibly Iraqi dinar could fit in the category, the Vietnamese dong could fit in that category, Indonesian rupiah could fit in that category. We'll have to find out and see, but it's pretty exciting that we're going to see these things, because this particular platform has communications and consultations with more than 260 banks. About 118 of those banks have signed on with linkage agreements. 98 banks have completed the linkage with the platform. Basically, the platform connects with the payment systems in the Asian and African continents, from which most of the member states of the Islamic Financial Services Council come from. And therefore, we look to see that the platform will contribute accordingly and strengthening the trade and investment between the Arab countries, Asian countries, and African. So that's a big deal. I think that knowing that they're openly talking about that, because Iraq is directly in the region with the Arab Monetary Fund, and we're going to see some international payment systems electronically coming in the near future, and with Iraq coming into the international world with the tripartite budget, I can sense that there's going to be a need. We're going to get to this next one with this next article, which is fascinating, is that the Iraq is looking to accelerate its accession to the World Trade Organization, and that came out yesterday, and it is pretty exciting because they have come a long way. This accession to the World Trade Organization, getting to the final end stage of being a full member, is been ongoing for, it looks like, about 3 years, and they're in advanced stages. So here it says that the Ministry of Trade met in his office today, Wednesday, with experts from the United Nations Trade Center, the World Trade Organization, representatives of the World Food Program and the European Union, to discuss a formula for joint action to support the process of Iraq's accession to the World Trade Organization. For as far as I can tell, that they're going to need to be Article 8 compliant with that, and that's one of the major things that we're hoping to see in the near future, in the very, very short future. And but here down below it says, for their part, the Trade Center experts reviewed their work in assisting countries in economic policies with a focus on business and countries joining the WTO, and indicated that they have been working in Iraq for 3 years. So this is not new, and they've obviously had plenty of time to get things organized. It says they basically did this with the aim of strengthening trade policy and developing institutional capabilities with relevant ministries, where the work was with the Ministry of Commerce, said to be very fruitful and in an advanced aspect. So in an advanced aspect leads me to believe that they're further along than they give us credit for, but 3 years is quite a long time. It says, with diagnosis, the challenges work to support Iraq's accession to the World Trade Organization by providing technical, legal advice, supporting trade policies to align with international standards. And so that's really kind of a fascinating article. So hopefully everybody takes it into consideration to how exciting that is. Because if they have advanced relationships with the World Trade Organization, you can bet they're going to be going to an international war into the global financial system. So it's pretty exciting. So if you remember back, I think it was probably around the 1st of August to the 7th of August that Al-Sudani, the central bank came out with the, it's called the Central Securities Depository System. They were supposed to have 14 days to get that sorted. That was from having to deal with the ISX. This particular one, back in article, it said from the CBI, it says, we'd like to inform you that the auction for traditional money transfers to the Central Bank of Iraq has been announced for a period of 14 days. with the number B302, and the implementation will be on August 7th. And according to the details included in the announcement published in the Central Securities Depository System, and banks can start submitting starting from that day of the announcement until the day of implementation. So we had that article, and here again, the CBI, I believe it was yesterday, came out and said, we'd like to inform you that the auction for traditional money transfers to the Central Bank of Iraq has been announced for, again, a period of 14 days with a number of B303, and the implementation will be on 8/23/23. So here coming on August next week, the 23rd. According to the details included in the announcement published on the Central Securities Deposit System, banks can start submissions starting from the date of the announcement until the day of implementation. So interestingly enough, that is it was the B302, which is different, and this is now the B303, and so that's supposed to get started. So it looks like they gave them a second opportunity to get set up and ready to go. Interestingly enough, if you remember also that on the 8th of August, the Prime Minister, Mohammed Shia Al-Sudani, issued directives to implement the projects and targets contained in the government program after the issuance of the enforcement of the Federal General Budget Law and its instructions. So he goes on to say that Al-Sudani directed the ministries and agencies not associated with the ministries to immediately start implementing projects. So we know about that. They go on and say update the priorities for what? The projects to implementation of those projects, and provided that the Ministry of Planning has provided the project requirements no later than August 15th, 2023. So that was 2 days ago. That was talking about immediately start implementing the projects. And so we're going to have to wait and see if those service projects are activated, okay? What we're also going to watch is to see if they start spending money, and that's going to be an important thing, because the 23, 24, 25 budget hasn't shown to be spending money on these projects yet. He goes on to the next thing, is that the Prime Minister also directed that the Ministries of Planning, Finance prepare a detailed position on financial allocations for the executive procedures, which are operational and investment, for the government program, each according to the competency in accordance with the budget law and its instructions. And here's another same quote, no later than August 24th, 2023. So interestingly enough, we're talking about here, this securities deposit system is the Iraqi Stock Exchange interconnection, or something similar to that. And that's for the estimated to be, at this particular case, August 23rd, and then down here he still has no later than August 24th. So when they talk about time frames, and they said, I think yesterday was an article reflecting that doing things within specified time frames. Yeah, those specified time frames coming from Al-Sudani are quite interesting. When they talk about it, they give out information. It's kind of hard to see sometimes, but again, if you read closely and collectively to get a bigger picture, you can see that these guys have progress. They're moving forward. It might not be as fast and as furious as that we'd like to think, but to be fair, they've been working with the WTO for 3 years. They've come this far. The electronic systems, the Buna platform, all of these things are completely showing us that there's definitely progress to get into the global financial system. So the next thing I was getting on to was the Central Bank of Iraq has been talking. Al-Alaq has been out, following up with, I call it the loose ends. But one of the interesting things he talked about today, there's a tendency to obtain dollars at airports throughout outlets of discrete companies. So he's still talking about the fact that there is, real ability to get dollars in a legal manner to travel for education of all those things. But interestingly enough, he adds that out of the blue, it says he added, quote, from 5 to 6 cents the cost of the Iraqi currency edition per paper. So he just happens to throw in how much it costs to print a note, a specific edition. So whether it's the small category notes or large notes, he's just saying basically it is 5 to 6 cents. We don't believe that they're increase the mass in the way that you and some, or not you, but I mean people would think. They're not printing any more 000 notes from what they've said. They weren't going to do that because the 000 notes are in circulation, and how they worded it was, we're not going to print any more new notes that are in circulation. So the smaller category notes that we know about, that we think that were publicly put into the CBI spreadsheet back in 2018, they spent $50 million really close to print new money, currency issuance, and so hopefully we'll see something along those lines in the coming days. Remember that not Al-Sudani, but Al-Alaq has stated that the project to delete the zeros still exists, and so we'd have to expect that if that's the case, they would need smaller category notes for that to be a functional thing to do. It says the next thing is the next trend. If you recall that they talked about new packages, 1, 2, 3, and 4 packages. They didn't use numbers; they just used packages. But if you count them up, there was 4, and because they're not really specific to the public exactly what those procedures are, but they have packages, they have mechanisms, and that's the CBI's business. And it's not necessarily for those that don't have a need to know. And that would be us. So basically it says they've been arresting some of the merchants and basically insulting them. And so he's basically stating, stop that, quit it. We're going to go after those that are doing the damage. It's not the merchant's fault that some of these things are going on. So basically, he also comes into this article at the last thing. It says, we're waging a great battle to remove the illegal groups that seize hard currency. So those that are smuggling and doing things that they shouldn't be, they're going after those folks. And my understanding is that there's been many arrests recently, and more so that's probably in the public eye. But even what's in the public eye is a lot. So, but he supports the value of his currency in effect by stating there's a future for gold, and Iraq owns 132 tons. And so look, Al-Alaq is having to explain things lately, which is interesting. He mentions that 5 to 6 cents per page paper currency edition. He also talks about the incorrect statements about the entry of foreign banks. There's not 14 foreign banks that's come into Iraq, but there were 14 banks that had restrictions put on them, and that's been in the news over the last few weeks. It says they're getting rid of the parallel market. It's a black market, illegal one, but he also goes on to the positive note and just says they have plenty of support for the present and future value of their currency. That last bit's in my terms, my words, but that's kind of a summary of what we just heard. The next thing is the Al-Sudani is directing all ministries in immediate coordination with the Ministry of Finance to expedite the payment of salaries of these new appointees retroactively. So they've been having and telling us that they haven't been paying their employees. I don't know how long and how many months, but it seems to me it's been about 3, June, July, and August. But here they're saying that they're going to be paying bills. So it says Mohammed Shia's Al-Sudani directed the expedited payments of the salaries of those appointed among the first graduates and holders of higher degrees. Well, regardless if it's the higher degrees or not, there's a lot of people that haven't been paid. And we know that in the Kurdistan region, they had some problems with the oil being shut off. They had some problems with the real estate market. They have a lot of different things in the country that created problems because they don't have the monies and the budget allocated yet. So a lot of pressure is on Al-Sudani and to get this done. And so I think we're seeing it. So the last thing I want to go over today was also the Ministry of Finance, Sami, Taif Sami. She's talked to the employees of the accounting department and wants them to continue work Fridays and Saturdays to complete the financing of the employee salaries. So you have Al-Sudani talking today, Al-Alaq talking today, and the Finance Ministry, Taif Sami, talking. It says the Ministry of Finance directed today the accounting department employees continue work on Fridays and Saturdays in order to complete the procedures for financing the salaries of the state employees in the current month of August. Well, if it's only just the month of August, there's probably some people are going to be upset. Well, what happened to June and July? Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Basically, the statement states that expenditure units in all ministries, governance, and related entities need to review the accounting department to complete the procedures for financing the monthly salaries, take into account the approved review and the schedule. So there's a time frame and there's a schedule for that. So as we can see with these few articles that we put out today, that Taif, Sami, and everybody, Al-Alaq and Al-Sudani have openly been stating we have some things to do. You got the World Trade Organization circumstance. So all the news that we have is coming to a head. We have some time frames that are still something to think about from Al-Sudani. Those things got to come into the equation. You have the ISX information, a second B303. We talked about that. All of these things coming to a full circle, and now is pretty powerful. I think that the 23rd is a few days from now. We could see a lot of different things and more updates each and every day this week. So I'm very excited. I hope you guys are. It's great. So have a wonderful afternoon, and we'll see you soon. If you like my content, hit that subscribe button. And if you feel like you want to help donate to keep the content flowing smoothly, I'd love to have you. Thank you so much, and have a great day. Once again, guys, don't forget to hit that like button if you like this content. Subscribe to the channel, or join us at the Militia Man and Crew Patreon community for even more exclusive content. You can also donate to this channel by hitting the links in the banner to help keep this page up and running. Your generous support is greatly appreciated, as always. Much, much appreciated. Thank you so much, and have a great day.